Hey everybody, Brian Strickland here again. We once again have our weekly updates. And if you missed this last week, we're going to start doing weekly videos where I talk briefly about some of the things that happened this week at the state capitol. And also at the very end, I'll answer some questions that you submit to me. And once again, you can go on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and submit questions that way, or email me questions either way, or call me up here with a question. And we'll try to highlight a couple of those each week. I've also been told to keep this as short as possible, so we're just going to get into a couple questions. First off, very busy week once again at the state capitol. One of the highlights this week for me was all the young people that came up here to visit. We had a big group of youth leadership Henry here this week, and also a big group from youth leadership Rockdale. And today I got to honor the state assembly with the YMCA as well, which are where the kids come up here and play legislator once a year. So it's a lot of young people this week. It's very inspiring for me to get to meet people that are really young, come to see exactly what we do at the state capitol, talk to them about our days up here. So as I told the Senate this morning, when I was first elected, when I came back at the state capitol, it's just the second time I've been up here since I was in first grade. And so I was trying to figure out where the bathrooms are, which chamber to go in. These kids are up here now learning about this process at a very early age. Very invaluable thing for them. So enough of that. Let's get into a couple questions y'all had from last week. So Miss Lori Tolan asks, hey Brian, what is the mental health funding you talk about in this video? So last week I talked a little bit about the state budget, and I highlighted one of the things that Governor Kemp is emphasizing is more funding for mental health. Let's touch on that briefly in the time we have. And so the first thing we have is part of the overall school safety plan the governor has proposed. We're actually increasing funding for the APEX program, a program that takes local mental health counseling providers and ties them into our local schools. The goal is to actually have this program in every one of our high schools in our state. So that's one of the big things that's part of the mental health funding this year. Second to that, we also have a big increase in funding for our behavioral health crisis centers and also our crisis stabilization units. Well, what I mean by that is we have these facilities that we can actually send people to that need help immediately. Let me give you an example. Someone is arrested or the police are called to someone's house. Someone has a mental health issue and the police is called out there. They have a choice of taking that person to jail, right? The person goes to jail. They don't get their medicine in jail. They actually end up sitting there, not getting any help. They may actually be prosecuted for something that actually has an underlying issue that we could address instead. With these stabilization centers, instead we can give the police discretion to take someone to a facility to get actual help for their problem instead of taking them to a jail or to an emergency room, but just sit in a line there. And so by increasing the funding for these facilities, we'll see more of these programs taking place across our state. Henry County in particular is already doing this through a program with Judge Chafin, and Newton County is doing it as well. So it's one of the things we're trying to focus on with mental health in our state. Next question real fast as we wrap up. So Amy Spear sent me 3 questions. Just going to read the first one. And she said, who is your favorite Georgia deaf, hard of hearing teacher? So Amy thought I wouldn't read her question. Amy's a good friend of mine, but I will read her question because you are my favorite Georgia deaf, hard of hearing teacher. But here's why it's important. I told some earlier this week, when I have bills that deal with education or special education in particular, I call people like Amy and say, Amy, how's this actually going to work inside of your classroom? And Amy would help me a couple years ago as we passed the hearing aid bill, and she was instrumental in that up here at the state capitol and educating people like me and what that means in her classroom. So I'll quit talking. I probably went too long. Make sure you send me some good questions for next week and give me a call. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Thank you all very much.